evening to you. I just wanted to make a brief YouTube video, and for whatever reason, my computer is acting a little strange tonight, so hopefully this will process. My name is Michael Ritzik. When you do the assignments, just put Mr. Ritzik. My last name is H-R-I-C-I-K, but it's pronounced Ritzik. So in a late start class, we have 11 weeks as compared to 15 with a regular start. And that's good and bad, because the one good part about it is you have fewer weeks, and so you were able to have a couple weeks where you didn't have to do all your schoolwork. But in a late start class, there are some weeks, though, truly, where you will have to do 2 assignments in a week. I mean, it's not every time, but there will be some situations when you have to do that. Now, I wanted to tell you about the books, okay? This one, if you buy the books from the bookstore, you'll get it with it. If you're buying some used books, this one's not essential. It's very, very helpful, and it also has a real good index in it. And then it also has a glossary of grammatical terms and all that sort of thing. I like it, and even the other day we were looking at word choice, that they had in here, variety of words, but conciseness on 36. But the one that we were looking at, like voice, formality, and word choice. So, and one of the types of writing you do in technical writing, you'll use jargon, which is technical language, and of course, you can always explain jargon in context, okay? So, there was a woman that was riding a bicycle around the lake at Lago de Vita, and she was going about 35 miles an hour. She was a triathlete, and she hit a deer, okay? So, she had to get an MRI and a CAT scan and maybe some other type of medical test. But an MRI is a magnetic resonance imaging. CAT scan is computerized tomography, and in essence, they're able to look into your body and determine what's wrong. With either, I think, a CT scan, the way that David McBride in the radiology program, he said it's like you slice bread, okay? You can slice bread the regular way, you can slice it, another way, and the same thing with a CAT scan. So if they want to look at your kidneys, liver, your soft tissue organs, and in her particular case, she ruptured her spleen, so they were able to identify that. But they also wanted to see, did she have bleeding on the brain, and they really needed to look at her closely. But what I'm saying is in technical writing, when you use jargon or even acronyms, which would be like RAM or megabyte or, as I said, CT scan, you can even explain those in the context of the sentence, or some people will put them in the parentheses. And so, anyhow, so this book has lots of good information, and you can put it in your book bag, or you can have it on your desk, and so it's a good reference. Now, this book, it's the one that's like the instructor's edition. Yours is brown, and it has those holes in it if you bought it from the bookstore. But if you bought this one online, it looks like this. And I can tell you specifically, I know this book really well since I've used it since the 2nd edition. Chapter 1, you really want to read through that, especially at the end of Chapter 1, where they talk a little bit more about the setup of the book. Chapter 2 and Chapter 4, try to read those in tandem, so to try to read those both consecutively, because they're very, very much related. In particular, especially in Chapter 4, they'll talk about the ABC format and writing the abstract, the body, and the conclusion. And you'll see that all throughout this book with the different documents, whether you're writing an email, a memo, a letter, a report, written instructions, or whatever it may be. And you will also notice in our textbook what they call the top-down format. Now, with technical writing, you want to briefly state the main findings and conclusions in the opening or the abstract, develop those in the body in a redundant and repetitive manner, and of course, review those in the conclusion. So They do mention that in chapter 4, so I would urge you to read chapters 2 and 4 together. Chapter 3 covers like the whole process of writing and effective writing and so on. And the one other, so just with those first 4 chapters in particular, chapter 5 covers document design. And in this class, we're going to spend a whole lot of time in designing effective, well laid out documents, with headings and subheadings and bullets, in-text emphasis and white space and so on. And then, we are going to spend a good deal of time on your sentence level writing too. So you have good, clear, sharp, and accurate sentence level writing. So this book covers it really, really well. Something that I did want to tell you is in the very back of this book there's a planning form, and so you can use that to plan the documents that you do for this class, and also too for anything that you do. They also have the planning form. Here it is, yeah. It's on page 39. It's the same thing, and they have it within the book. And so on the back of that, they have instructions for completing the planning form. So whatever types of documents you're doing, you can, help you to plan it. They have a chapter in this book also on web page writing, and they have a web page writing planning form, which is actually a pretty good idea. So pretty much, like I said, chapters 2 and 4 are critical, but as you read through this book, you'll see the first 5 chapters are pretty much the bedrock of what this book covers. And I wanted to share an example, and I always kind of look at this one because it is a really, really useful one. If you go into chapter 8, they do instructions and so on. And there is an example on page 244, okay? The example, this one right here, as you can see, it's written in paragraph form, and it's making travel arrangements. Now, if you look at this one, making travel arrangements, notice how they have it in listed format with the actions as far as that goes, and they also have in-text emphasis. And so, a lot of these techniques are what you're going to be practicing in this class. So I just wanted to let you know that. Early on in the class, too, I would also encourage you, in particular, to take a look at Chapter 17, which is Style and Technical Writing, and that starts on page 634. But it just helps you to make your writing tighter or more specific and more accurate. And I did want to alert you to that part of the book. So, the syllabus, you can follow it, but as I said, the first 5 chapters are critical. But in particular, 2 and 4 actually have, a good bit of helpful information. So for this first week, you just have to, actually for Friday the 18th of September, you just have to post to the discussion board. And to go to the discussion board, you click on Tools, and then you will click on the discussion board, and then you'll go in and it'll say Introductory Discussion Board. And then all you do is create a new thread, and you can type directly into the discussion board, or you can type a posting in Microsoft Word, save it, and then you can copy and paste it into the discussion board. It'll help you to edit out the errors and so on, and so it'll actually make it a sharper, clearer document. The spell check in the discussion board is not as good as the one in Word at all, so that may be something you want to do. So that's all we have to do really for this weekend. You have to post by the 18th to introduce yourself. I think there's like 4 or 5 questions, and then just respond to 2 other students by the 21st. And you don't have to give long responses, just, hey, we're in the same major, or, seems like you have an interesting background, or, you and I share a love of animals. I have 2 pugs, just that sort of thing. And then I don't want to go on too much longer because sometimes these don't work after 10 minutes. For next Friday, which is the 25th, you'll have the information sheet, assignment 1, which is an assignment on what your friends and family members think of you, and then assignment 2, which is writing effective email. I'll explain those more as the week goes by, and I will update the course. I just copied it over from the summer, but I've been really, really busy this week, and so I'll get that taken care of, and that's it. Thanks.